Top 5 Most Scary Horror Stories. The Turn of the Screw. Nobody's entirely sure what evil lurks at the heart of Henry James's seminal story, but we can all agree that it's creepy as heck. Written in the form of a manuscript by a former governess, now dead, it describes her experiences caring for two unfortunate children on a country estate that may or may not be haunted by the ghosts of former estate workers, who may or may not be communing with or somehow controlling the children. As with several of the stories on this list, readers are left to judge whether the horrors are real or whether our narrator is merely mad. The Great God Pan. Creating a hole in a human head is almost never a good idea, particularly when it's done by a mad scientist who wants to open up the skulls of mankind to the spiritual world. This story of a half-divine woman who inveigles men to their doom shocked critics in its time, and was a major influence on H.P. Lovecraft and authors in his orbit. And the great god Pan here isn't much like the Pan of Greek myths, he is closer to being one of the Lovecraft-inspired elder gods. That old saying about being careful what you wish for predates W. W. Jacobs' classic spooky story, but there may be no better illustration than this tale of a father, a son and 3 wishes gone horribly wrong. The Monkey's Paw. It gets us to do the work of dreaming up the monster on the other side of the door. But it's no less real for that. Really, it's more real, probably, says Judge Stephen Graham Jones. The Willows. 2 friends, never named, though one, we learn, is devoid of imagination, so remember that as you read, are on a canoe trip down the Danube during its summer floods. This seems foolhardy enough, but then they decide to make camp on an island that turns out to be packed with monstrous, night-walking willow trees who definitely don't want them there. This story was reportedly one of H.P. Lovecraft's favorites, and we can see why. The Yellow Wallpaper. Charlotte Perkins Gilman drew on her own experience of illness and powerlessness for the yellow wallpaper, prescribed a rest cure for her nerves. She was forbidden to work, to touch pen or pencil, allowed only 2 hours intellectual stimulation a day, and commanded to live as domestic a life as possible. It nearly broke her, and she later said she wrote this story of a young woman driven mad by a rest cure and some unfortunate wallpaper as a direct message to her doctor. Like, comment, subscribe.